What is going on, everybody? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Quick Pitch MLB DFS podcast live stream. What is going on, everybody? Jon Impemba here with Grande live. First time this season, 5 o'clock Eastern time. We're going to be coming to everybody live 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern moving forward. Today, we're just chilling out on the Fantasy Alarm Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. We will be on the Better Sports Network moving forward as well. You can find the podcast there in the morning. You can find us live here 5 to 6 o'clock at night as well. Man, James, how are we doing?
Doing well. Excited for the podcast to turn into a live stream, and you're going to have both, whether it's our early breakdowns in the morning and then our more in-depth look at everything as lineup shakeout in the afternoons. And that's what we're here for. And we're here to answer any of your questions here on YouTube. I have my YouTube open. I know we have our Discord for anyone that wants to get questions in there. So plenty of places to be. We're going to be on the Better Sports app as well. So looking forward to that. Should be a little interesting slate. Interesting breakdown of the slate today. How we had an early slate. Now we have the 5-game main on DraftKings. We have the 6-game main on FanDuel. This is the first time all year that DraftKings and FanDuel did not agree upon slates, which, first of many, I'm sure, moving forward. FanDuel always seemingly does have the added 1 or 2 games, right? It's always like one early, one late. But that's where we are today. 6 games on FanDuel, 5 on DraftKings. An interesting slate because, John, we're coming off a Coors Field slate that ended in 1-0 yesterday. Yeah. So we get Coors again. We get 2 pitchers one pitcher that we're excited to attack, and one prospect that we're excited about. But it is Coors, and crazy things happens there. So interesting 5-game slate. Nevertheless.
Yeah, listen, the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS playbook is already out. If you're not yet an All-Pro subscriber, you can do so going to fantasyalarm.com/pricing. You see down there at the bottom of the screen, promo code MLB50 saves you 50% off the first 6 months. That's $19.98 a month for the next 6 months. That takes you right through the first month of the NFL season. Basically, you get all of our content for just $20 a month. More importantly, you get access to our premium Discord channel there as well. James, I did the playbook today, and one of the more early concerning points of the day was potentially the weather that was going to be impacting this Padres-Atlanta game. There's obviously a lot of great offenses to target on such a short slate. We have an update on that potential weather scenario there today?
Yeah, I mean, what looked doom and gloom kind of has looked better throughout the day. Reports are that there is going to be rain, but the worst of the rain in the Georgia, the Atlanta, Georgia area are going to miss the park. We'll see, right? There could still be a delay. Fortunate for us, this is a 7:20 start. We're going to know ahead of time if they're going to delay the start of this game, which, could be good, could be bad, depending on when the window of play is. But as of right now, it looks like even if there is a delay, that this game is going to be played. And that's encouraging because this game looks very good, very appealing, especially the offensive side of things. 9.5 over under is tied for the second highest, and I'll just say first, excluding Coors, right? If we're excluding Coors, 9.5 runs implied in this game is the top mark on the board, that tied with Toronto, LA, and that's been bet up from 8.5. So this line opened at 9.5, stayed at 9.5 all day long. And, Nick Martinez, a guy who had to go reinvent himself in the KBO, came back last year, was a starter reliever, and Jared Schuster looked terrible in his debut. So definitely an appealing game from an offensive sake. So I'm happy to have the weather seemingly under control. Again.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, when you already have small slates, and then one game gets picked off by weather and the other one has Coors Field on it, you kind of feel like, oh man, the rostership today is going to be pretty high. Of course, today's game in Coors, like we said, 11 expected run total in that game early on. Yesterday it was 10.5 and it finished 1-0. So you just never really know When you think you got an idea, you don't, right? The way the baseball gods changed themselves, we were all gearing up for Josiah Gray giving up home runs left and right, and that just wasn't to be the case here. Let's turn our attention for those that are new. We like to break these games down position by position. We'll build the lineup here at the end. We'll give us our home run calls, maybe a favorite better or two there as well. I know Howard Bender has been absolutely killing his best bets of the day so far this season. So you got to go ahead and check those out there over on Fantasy Alarm as well. But James, turning our attention to the pitcher position here. Top price guys on the slate over on DraftKings. Brandon Woodruff at home gets this matchup against the St. Louis Cardinals. Clayton Kershaw, $9,700 on the road, gets the Arizona Diamondbacks, a team that he faced in his season debut. Both those pitchers, your top two price guys. For me, it's an obvious lean where we should be building our lineups around, especially on DraftKings where you have to start two pitchers. That's what Mr. Kershaw here against Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, the only downside, and if you can even call it that, is the pitch count that Kershaw is seemingly going to be on to start the year. 76 pitches is lower than most guys across baseball for his first go-around. The only thing is he's just so efficient with his. I mean, 9 strikeouts, 0 walks. He rarely is, counts are rarely extended against him. He is putting guys down quickly. 6 innings in 76 pitches is elite. That's the only thing. If Arizona can be pesky, right? If Arizona can fight counts, 22% K rate, 1% walk rate against left-handed pitching this year. That is unbelievable. But they have a lot of young, swing-happy guys in their offense. Yeah. So
plus Kershaw is an elite swing and miss pitcher, even in his older age. Right, he's been able to churn out strikeouts. How much of that 76 pitches over 6 innings do you think had to do with the fact that it was a 10-1 game? Do you think he got pulled early just because it was so out of hand they didn't need him to grind down those innings? I mean, Trace Thompson hit a grand slam early in that game, and the offense was just out from there.
I mean, I think there's an argument on both sides of the coin, because you can argue, why tax your bullpen when you don't need to if Kershaw's cruising so much. And if he was willing to, or if him and Dave Roberts and the game plan was him to get to 90 pitches, take him out early and then maybe waste bullpen arms that could have been used the day after. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into that. So I don't disagree. We're just not in the building to know.
Sure. Do you agree with him probably being the top price guy to target? I mean, again, smaller slate, only a handful of pitchers really I think you can go to and trust. Brandon Woodruff is the more expensive pitcher, but he does have maybe more likely the harder matchup against the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals are, again, early on, but they have a substantial amount of at-bats against right-handed pitching, 197, which is, one of the highest marks in the league. And they've only struck out 17% of the time against righties. That's the third lowest mark. Only Boston and the Mets have struck out less against righties. And we know Woodruff, I mean, last year he just struck everyone out.
Yeah.
But, still, I mean, you do run into some of those matchups where if he only has 5 strikeouts in 6 innings at 10K, I mean, that's going to be a hard price to swallow when you can get Kershaw for $300 less. And Kershaw is, at least on DraftKings, the biggest favorite on the board.
Right.
So, and I know Woodruff is slightly behind. I see Kershaw minus 190 in places, Woodruff minus 160. But, all those things factoring in, I do lean Kershaw over Woodruff. Definitely the tougher matchup, despite Woodruff being the guy pitching at home.
What's your mid-tier guy down here? Again, we got a couple of guys in the same matchup against one another. Sandoval and Bassett going up against each other, $85 and $8,100. Jack Flaherty had a no-hitter in his first start through 5 innings, walked 7, was going for the Edwin Jackson no-no, but they obviously pull the rug out from under him there. Are you trusting any of these mid-tier pitchers here?
Yeah, I mean, I like Chris Bassett, and I understand that he got shelled in his debut. More to the point, St. Louis offense, right? 9 earned runs, 4 home runs. I mean, this is a guy he wasn't great in spring, but there's a lot, again, another thing that a lot of things go into spring training. Results aren't the end all be all, especially for a veteran like Bassett who just signed a big contract this offseason. But he was really good last year, and he's just like he was really good the year prior in Oakland when he made the All-Star team. Like he's just a good pitcher. The Angels have not been a good offense.
Right.
And you and I have talked about this a couple times already this year, where like, yeah, you can get burned by the Angels because who they have. They have Ohtani, they have Trout, they have Taylor Ward. But like if one or both those guys aren't, doing damage,
right,
no one else is really doing anything. Rendon is suspended. Brandon Drury hits lefties. Gio Urshela has never been really known for his bat. And Hunter Renfroe, is a power bat who hasn't hit a home run this year.
Right.
He's hitting 167. Like, I'd be hard pressed to think that Chris Bassett has anywhere near the performance that he had his first time around against a much better opponent that is striking out 24% of the time, let's say 23% of the time, 688 OPS against righties, only a 120 ISO. So I think Chris Bassett is the guy for me in the mid-tier.
Sure. It is kind of interesting. You look at that matchup, and the Angels are actually minus 125 favorites in this game here. Because you think Patrick Sandoval, you think left-handed pitcher going up against the Blue Jays, and some of the guys that they have in their lineups like Springer, Bichette, Vladdy Guerrero, their catchers there with Kirk or Jansen, all those guys kind of lefty mashers. And yet the Angels find themselves as a slight favorite in this game at minus 125. Any interest in Flaherty on this matchup against Woodruff here? Again, coming back, long time dealing with injuries, 5 innings in his debut, no hits, the 7 walks, obviously a bit concerning, but this is a guy that once had a lot of promise. It's just, hasn't been able to stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to not love 95 pitches in his debut, considering the laundry list of injuries that he's been through. To see him throw 95 pitches in his debut is kind of surprising, right? Like,
when most managers are pulling back, he's out there fresh off injuries. Like, let's see what we can do here,
Yeah, Jack, they're basically like, yeah, Jack, you're gonna get hurt at some point, so let's just use you up while we can, right? I mean, look, I don't think we're gonna get a performance where he's gonna go 49 of 95 pitches for strikes. Like, that can only improve, right? 7 walks, seemingly, like you would think, in theory, it's only going to get better from there. And he did blank the Blue Jays. 7,500 is too cheap of a price. We know there's strikeout appeal for Jack Flaherty as well. I think I would, without giving too much away, 5.5 is the Vegas line there. I like one of those, a lean, and it's not the under. I do like Jack Flaherty. Now, the Brewers have a lot of steam on everyone on their roster, seemingly, especially all their young guys, Garrett Mitchell, Weimer, even not a young guy, but Brian Anderson's on fire to start the year. Like, there is like a lot to like about Milwaukee. But if Flaherty can do that against the Blue Jays and then cut down on the walks here, I mean, we're talking about a guy who does have a lot of upside at 7,500. I think Bassett and Flaherty are very close for me in that mid-tier.
Yep, I'm with you there. Are we going with Mackenzie Gore at all? Is there any interest at all? I mean, 6,500. It's a spot against Colorado. We talk a lot about, like, what are the two things we love about Colorado? When they're home and when they're facing a lefty. Well, they kind of check both boxes here, but we also think Mackenzie Gore can be a little bit of a stud as well.
And you know what? It is a different Rockies team. Let's just put that out there. Like, tonight, Jurickson Profar is leading off. He has looked horrible. Chris Bryant has looked okay, but just still seems like there's no real power. Like, he's hitting 350. No home runs, 3 doubles. Is that what Chris Bryant has really become? We're not really worried about the home run ball from Charlie Blackmon all that much. Yeah, CJ Cron hitting 4th is definitely a danger. And Yuli Harris Montero is also like more of a contact profile.
Yeah.
We have in years past, like Rockies against lefties and at home. Very small sample here, John. But the Rockies are striking out 31% of the time.
Yeah.
This year against lefties. Like, and I get it. It is a 65 at bat sample, and it is very hard to trust that. And I've been talking about it a lot with BVP. Like, BVP in small samples hard to trust, and that's kind of what this is because it's an entire lineup.
Right.
But like, that is an alarming strikeout rate, and you just look at their lineup, and it is not as potent as it once was, and even like last year. Randall Grichuk on the IL, Brandon Rogers on the IL, like two guys that play every day, just not there. So
and guys that generally hit lefties really well.
Two guys that generally hit lefties. So like, yeah, Profar was good against lefties last year, 327 WOBA. Chris Bryant was great, but 66 at bats. He was out for most of the year. CJ Cron weirdly had his best season against a righty, right-handed pitchers last year when he's generally has profile better against lefties. And then you have like Jonathan Daza, no power, Elias Diaz, yeah, sure.
Maybe.
Ryan McMahon, like, yeah, right, maybe. And then Tovar is just speed. Like, it's just not the same team. So like, yeah. Like all that to say, like, yeah, I do.
He's in play. All that to say, yeah, Mackenzie Gore can make a lineup for me tonight, you know?
Dude, I mean, 93 pitches is pretty, again, like, this is not, like, I guess maybe different because, like, COVID year and then last year, everyone ramping up.
If you flipped the locations of this game, and this was in Washington, Mackenzie Gore would be what, 8K?
Most popular SP2 on the slate.
Right?
Yeah. Kershaw, Gore would probably be every cash game lineup there is, right? That would probably be like this, just your base foundation. Kershaw, Gore.
Yeah, and now that Atlanta, San Diego offense could be back in play, given the fact that the weather is looking a little bit better for this game, like you're going to need to find some value to fit in some of these high-priced guys. You know, you're not playing Mad Bum. You're not going to play Schuster or Urena, for sure not. So, you know, Gore, Kershaw may be the chalk anyways, and then you're pivoting with Flaherty, Woodruff, you know, kind of as the alternative SB1, SB2 plays today.
Agreed. Fully on board right there.
All right, we go on over to the catcher position. Again, this is a position that you and I generally do not, you know, look to pay up for. We don't have the Dodgers lineup out yet. You don't have the Blue Jays, Angels, or Diamondbacks. So, you know, Will Smith obviously would be in a great spot. You know, back on April 1st, you know, he actually wasn't even in the lineup when they did all that damage against this team here, but he's already got 3 home runs in the last 4, being everything that you'd want in a spend-up catcher. Do you find yourself getting there tonight, though?
It is so hard not to play 5 Dodgers tonight. There's a case that you could play 5. I mean, Mad Bum, like if you can fit cores around your Dodger stacks, again, Washington is very cheap once again. I mean, their 4-hitter is 3,200. Their 2-hitter is 2,900. I mean, their leadoff hitter is 2,500. Like, you could play anyone you want to Washington and then just run rampant on Dodgers. I have no problem getting to W.D. Smith. He crushed lefties last year, 374 WOBA, hit 6 bombs against them. And this is not the Madison Bumgarner that won 3 championships.
No. I wrote in the playbook today that Madison Bumgarner is 3 years past being past his prime. So, you know, to steal from this man's 3 years away from being 3 years away, you know, this is the Mad Bum is well past his prime already.
Shout out to the NBA draft. Shout out to the
NBA draft. I'm the absolute goated quote of all time. I'm fully in agreement with you here. I guess my question is, like, how long is Madison Bumgarner in this game? Like, you know, he didn't pitch obviously too deep last time out, just 4 innings. You know, they didn't have any problem tagging that Arizona bullpen. You know, but obviously we're keying in a lot of the Dodgers tonight because of that matchup against the starting pitcher. And if he only lasts 1 turn through the rotation, you know, you hope then the damage gets done there otherwise. Sean Murphy in the lineup tonight without Travis d'Arnaud. So
aliens, Sean, aliens.
Yeah,
aliens meme.
Yeah, is the tide finally turning in the Sean Murphy direction here? Looking at the mid-tier catcher, obviously we have both Contreras guys here, William and William Contreras, 2 different guys, slightly different pronunciations to the names, run up against one another. We got our Toronto catchers, whether it be Kirk or Jansen, likely going to be in the lineup today. They get the lefty. Where are we targeting our catcher spot for tonight? Is it just Kybert and you just go?
Yeah, it's probably Kybert. Jose Urena just cannot retire lefties. That's going to be a big problem for him. I don't hate Austin Nola against Jared Schuster. If that game plays, 285 against righties last year, hitting 7th. That ballpark has been very conducive to runs. Murphy is fine. I like him better against left-handed pitching, but it is hard to ignore him hitting 5th in the middle of that lineup. And then you're right, the Blue Jays, whatever Blue Jays guy is in the lineup, I have interest in. I don't know. I'm surprised we don't have a Toronto lineup yet, but 938, right. We could actually get one during this live stream. So hold tight on the on which Jansen hits for power and Kirk actually profiled better against righties last year. So I like whichever one's starting.
Okay. Any other catchers for you? Again, there's not many catchers that we generally like to play anyways. It's a smaller slate. Pool's pretty short, so we like W.D. Smith if he's in there. We're fine with Kybert. Any guys we haven't mentioned that you're maybe targeting a bit here?
Yeah, I mean, Nola's fine, hitting 7th. And that's probably it. I mean, if you think that there's just regression on Chris Bassett this year, Logan O'Hoppe has hit 2 home runs in his last 3 games. He was starting catcher out of camp.
Yep.
I don't hate that. John, a couple questions over on YouTube are just like comments here.
Yeah.
Michael Stepney says Bassett could go loaned. I know you're answering in there, but I definitely agree. I think he is. I think you brought up a good point. Like, Flaherty is probably the chalk in the mid-tier. Kershaw, everyone's going to go to. Naturally, people are going to go to Brandon Woodruff because he is a strikeout arm. And I do think people go to Mackenzie Gore. Shout out to Wasim Hassan. Came across the channel the other day. Good work, guys. 20 minutes behind. Well, Wasim, sorry for the mispronunciation if I was incorrect. When you catch up, what's up? Welcome. Welcome to the family. We're happy to have you here, and we hope to see you here for a long time.
Yeah.
And then Michael again. How many lineups will have Gore Bassett as the top 2 starters?
Yeah, I said not many. Again,
I don't think so either.
Gore, obviously, I think is going to be a little bit more. I don't even know, right? Like, we have some projected ownership that we can obviously take a look at. I don't know how many people are going to be afraid of going to Coors with that 11 run total. But I definitely feel like that Gore's in play tonight. And I don't know, I wonder if people are going to be afraid of that run total and go off of him. But on a small slate, I'm fine going to it. Bassett is interesting because, how many people are, as you mentioned, they're seeing that the Angels lineup isn't really doing a ton, and he is a historically good pitcher. So now you're getting him off of a rough start. People probably afraid of that. A lot of people are just box score watchers, right? So they see him get hammered in that first start and they say, no, thank you. And then you have yourself a low roster guy there. So I'm good. I don't mind going a little different because on small slates, as I put in the playbook today, you have to find yourself some differencing somewhere or everybody's going to be 60, 70% owned in your lineup.
Yeah. I also think the same thing you said about like people seeing what Bassett did last time could be doing the same thing about Coors tonight. And, what is Coors? Historically, all offense, right? Like,
historically, yeah.
We see last night 1-0. I went on a big rant about how the Rockies offense stinks this year. I mean, it could be 13-11 tonight, and I don't think anyone would be surprised. Nope. So, like, same thing can be said for Mackenzie Gore and that game. Like, where everyone's watching Bassett, oh, he looked terrible. Maybe he's washed. Well, maybe he's not, but 1-0 last night. No one's going to score runs. Rockies stink. 13-11 tonight.
Gore could be good too in this game, and the bullpen comes in and gives up like 8 runs.
Right.
So also very possible things we've seen in Coors Field many a times. Let's go on over to first base position here. And again, if you guys are watching, you have questions, go ahead, throw them into that YouTube chat. Get us on Twitter. If you're in our Discord, go ahead and comment in there as well. Like, we're more than happy to answer your questions live here. Again, we're going to be doing this every day now, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern. You can also find us on the Better Sports Network starting next week there as well. So coming to you guys live, a little roster lock show for everybody to update you on the playbook and news of the day. James, first base position here. They give us Ohtani as first base eligible over on DraftKings because why not? We got CJ Cron, Paul Goldschmidt, Freddie Freeman, Vladdy, a lot of, name top tier guys up there. Matt Olson, now that game feels in play, I kind of have a little more of a leaning on Olson here against Martinez.
Yeah, I think that's where my interest would start too. And obviously everyone above him is in play. It was actually surprising last night to see CJ Cron not as highly owned as I thought he would be and what he was projected. I mean, it was still like mid 20s, but that just goes to show you, I think people are kind of scared off by the 5,800. So, maybe he does check in a little lower owned, and that's obviously great in cores. And you can obviously get Goldschmidt to homer at any point, and same with Freeman in a lefty-lefty matchup. But Olsen has been incredible to start the year. 7 extra base hits in his first 7 games. All the power in the world. The ballpark is great. Nick Martinez does, limit damage for the most part, mostly keeping the ball on the ground. But I think it's going to be hard to do that consistently 2-3 times around this Braves lineup. Right. And I think Olsen's going to get to him here. So I'm with you on Olsen being the top guy above 5K.
Mid-tier range of guys. You have Meneses with the first base outfield eligibility. He's hitting 3rd today. Again, we think Washington is probably going to be a pretty popular stack. Jose Urena is just one of the worst pitchers in baseball there. You got that guy hitting in the middle of their lineup. Nelly Cruz, the Angels wonder, hitting cleanup tonight for the Padres. He's at $4,200. You do have Christian Walker against Kershaw, not a spot that I'm looking too hard at here. But thoughts on the mid-tier first base group?
Yeah, I mean, Meneses and Cruz are probably the 2 best options here. You can always play Rowdy, who's teetering. He's more of a value play. So
listen, I'm fine talking about them because to me, that's kind of where I like to go. I'm not in love so much with that middle tier after Olsen. I think Cruz will fit some lineups if you're building them that way. But Rowdy, again, I think sacking against St. Louis tonight with Flaherty, if he doesn't have that control still, and he's going to walk a bunch of guys in Milwaukee, they have the lineup that, at least right now, guys swinging the bat well enough that could make him pay a little bit. So I like him, and then Dom Smith hitting cleanup. Lefty against Urena last year, hit over 300 with an over 800 OPS. I know. Dominic Smith kind of let a lot of people down during his Mets tenure, but bounce back opportunity hitting in the middle of a Washington lineup here.
Sorry, Vreeland. I know that Dominic Smith line probably hurt you quite a bit. We didn't mean it. Well, John didn't mean it.
I meant it. He was not good with it. He just wasn't good with the Mets. That's fine. It's on Washington.
Yeah, I think Dom Smith is going to be pretty popular here at 3,200, hitting 4th, and lefties are the dominant side against Jose Urena. I do also like Rowdy Tellez as a contrarian play. We know, what does he do? He hits home runs.
Hits in 3 straight games too, so he's starting to maybe creep out of the early season struggles there. A hit and a run scored in each of the last 3 games is certainly enough to pay off a 3,300 price tag. And then if he goes hits a home run, you got 14 points right there. So I don't mind it.
Yeah, 31 of his 35 home runs last year came against right-handed pitching. So that kind of says it all. And then I don't think there's a single other person I would even probably consider using. No.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. I did see a possible lineup that had Jake Lamb in the lineup for the Angels tonight, but I'm not really looking to get Jake Lamb into anything there. Bobby Rowland in our chat here, not necessarily on first base, but we did talk about Washington and Milwaukee already. He wants to know, would you play Call tonight leading off for the Nationals, or would you over Yelich today going up against Flaherty?
So Alex Call was actually, and it doesn't surprise me to see him leading off after seeing these numbers. Very limited sample last year. Just 72 plate appearances against righties. But he was way better against right-handed pitching. 492 slug, 867 OPS, 230 ISO, 379 WOBA against righties, Sean. So I kind of like Alex Call in that spot. 2,500. Definitely
the price
definitely
difference
the better
too. Call being where he's at, and then Yelich is $4,900. So
well, I'm gonna also I'll pull it up on FanDuel too. Let's see what Yelich is 32 and Call is 3,000. So maybe that's a FanDuel question.
Probably a FanDuel question. That's a good point.
So Call is $200 less. Probably still Call leading off 3K there.
Yeah, 100%. Going up against Urena like we talked about. Definitely in on the stack there. If he's leading off on DraftKings too at $2,500, probably super chalky as well, right? Just getting exposure to that there. So yeah, I would play Call over Yelich. I like Milwaukee. I think they could be a little different today. But I put the stacks out over on with our Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS playbook, and guys like Jesse Winker and Garrett Mitchell were more my speed in that core than Yelich. But if you wanted to be a little different, I think Milwaukee could be fun. Going on over to second base here, Mookie Betts, second base eligibility over on DraftKings. I laugh, but honestly, on this slate, we kind of need it. I honestly think that Mookie Betts is a second baseman I'm plugging into my lineups today because of just the depth at this position.
Or the lack of depth, rather, at the position. Yeah, it's a bad position. Just leads you to more Dodgers. Like this, every position we're gonna stop at really is just gonna bring us to more Dodgers. Gets the righty-lefty matchup. 5,900 is obviously expensive, but we have long known what Mookie Betts is. He is a 5-tool player that could put up a 30 spot tonight. It wouldn't be surprising. So Betts is the clear and away number one option. What's your number two, John? Like if you were like going through this position, is it one of 4 Luis Garcias, the one that plays for the Nationals, or Bryce Terang? Like
so honestly, now that San Diego's back in play, I actually like Ha-Seong Kim. Good power against left-handed pitching. In terms of OPS. So I'm kind of leaning there now that he's in this lineup. He's hitting 6 today. I would play him over Garcia. I think there's more upside of him hitting 6 in the Padres lineup tonight, even though that Urena is clearly the punching bag of the slate. That's probably where I go after this. I mean, I'm fine if you want to go Albies. I know it's not the split matchup that we generally play him in, but I'm still fine going there. But yeah, it's Betts, and it's probably Kim for me. Maybe throw in Merrifield because he has the eligibility, or Espinal because he has the eligibility if either of them are in the lineup tonight, given their spot against the lefty. But I actually kind of like Sandoval, so I'm not looking to totally throw a bunch of guys against him here. So right. I think it's Kim and it's Betts, and that's probably it for me at second base tonight.
Yeah, and to your point, Kim's off to a good offensive start, 286 average. He's homered. This is a guy with speed too. Like he had a 33 stolen base season in the KBO. He had 12 stolen bases last year, which, is what it is, but there's bigger bases. There's different rules. Like the speed, there's obviously been an expansion of running. Like it's surprising to see Kim with no stolen bases to this point. Like this could be a guy with the rule changes that approaches 20 stolen bases. So I know lefty's on the mound and maybe that's harder to run on. But yeah. I agree. Kim is a stolen base threat. He has some power, double-digit home runs, double-digit stolen bases last year. So I like him. I do like Luis Garcia. I mean, the lefty-righty matchup against Jose Urena does stand out quite.
Yep, 100% there. Kim, just for his short career, 751 OPS, 260 average against lefties, 349 on base, about 100 points less OPS and on base percentage against righties. So definitely the right split for him in the lineup here tonight. Moving on over to third base is where we generally find ourselves looking to spend up. A lot of great talent at the third base position. James, who are your favorite third basemen to kind of plug in there today?
Shout out Howard Bender for not knowing the time. Said this is my new home 4 to 5. It's actually 5 to 6. He caught himself quickly. That's the West Coast brain right there. That's also maybe the brain that's been up since 3 in the morning.
I was gonna say Howard's been turning out picks left and right over there with his best bets articles and killer value article the other day as well. So he knows what's going on. We also have Miriam Kidd asking us if Giolito's washed. I mean, listen, he had a good first start against Houston. He got lit up today by Pittsburgh, though. Pirates also swept the Red Sox, and I'm a Red Sox fan. So not necessarily pertaining to tonight's DFS slate, but just commenting on what's going on today. Maybe the Pirates are good. I don't know. Brian Reynolds is at least very good. We know that much. So
Pirates, Colby Conway would be happy to know the Pirates' best team in baseball, right? In terms of third baseman, I mean, hard not to look Machado's way. I think he's going to get a lot of eyeballs and rostership tonight going up against Jared Schuster after Schuster's very lackluster performance. 5 walks in his debut. Not great. 11 base runners in less than 5 innings. So obviously Machado's at the top. Austin Riley's been really good to start the year. We typically like him better against lefties, but again, very hard not to like Austin Riley, 54. And then all these guys, I think, in terms of Arenado, Muncy, contrarian plays. Look, you could play any Dodger that's in the lineup tonight, and I think it's it's possible that they homer, or possible that they're in the optimal lineup. And then, Matt Chapman. There's a lot of run production right now coming from Matt Chapman. Nothing leaving the yard, John, but 6 doubles, 7 RBIs in 7 games.
Matt Chapman was our favorite forgotten Blue Jay last year. Don't forget.
Always under 10%.
Nobody ever played Matt Chapman. All the guy did was hit the baseball. So, and that generally has been the case today. This season, the guys get on ahead of him, and he just scooping RBIs. So, listen, I'm fine with it. If you want to go again, I like Sandoval, so it's where I draw back a little bit on going with Toronto here. But there's certainly a team that can put a quicker number on the board. More than anybody else that's on this slate here today. So not going to fight you too much on it. There's really not much else that I love here. I don't mind Urshela against Bassett. Again, I know he's a guy that we generally play more versus lefties, but without Rendon, maybe he finds himself in the lineup here tonight again, hitting the ball a little bit good to start the season. Brian Anderson's been really good. It's a righty matchup for him tonight, but if you just want to play a hot bat against Flaherty, he's $3,200. Jaimer, not the right split for him, but it's Urena, so who knows?
Yeah, I think the most popular outside of Machado is probably going to check in Candelario or Montero.
Sure.
Montero, 3,100, coming off 3 hits last night, and he was hitting lower in the lineup. They moved him up to 5th tonight. Whether or not the game was 1 run or not, this game is still going to check in pretty popular. Righties had a 333 WOBA against Mackenzie Gore last year. Montero had a 346 WOBA against left-handed arms. So I think Montero, Candelario are probably the 2 chalky punts. I actually probably lean Montero. I know we like Gore. He's just a better hitter.
Sure.
Than Candelario. Candelario has hit lefties in the past, but he was not great last year. He's
never been great. That's the thing.
No,
he's never been great. He's just been serviceable in those times where we're convincing ourselves today is the Tiger Stack day, right? For whatever reason, we're just always find ourselves Robbie Grossman hits lefties and Candelario hits lefties. We can get a sneaky Tiger Stack in here, and then they go 1 for 10 with strikeouts, and we're oh right, the Tigers. What were we doing?
John, the Dodgers lineup just came out.
Yeah,
and it is interesting.
Okay,
and we should have known. I wasn't sure if W.D. Smith was going to DH. Because
it's Kershaw catcher.
Austin Barnes always catches him. He is not. So the Dodgers lineup is Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, J.D. Martinez, Max Muncy hitting 4th, Vargas hitting 5th.
Vargas. So I just looked. I forgot about Vargas. Vargas is $2,300 second baseman on DraftKings.
It's because he is listed day to day, so we probably
$2,400 second baseman on DraftKings. So.
Probably just skipped over him because the thumb.
That feels like a plug and play then hitting.
That's a plug and play hitting 5th. Trace Thompson hitting 6th. Naturally. James Outman 7th. Chris Taylor 8th, starting at shortstop. I think is interesting, and Austin Barnes hitting 9th. So definitely I don't want to say watered down version of the Dodgers lineup, but a watered down version of the Dodgers lineup.
Sure.
So just interesting there.
It doesn't put me on Bumgarner at all.
No. That's not what I was getting at. I'm just saying no W.D. Smith.
I actually like that Vargas is down there because it just saves me more money to spend up on Machado.
Agreed.
Right? So, all right. Shortstop. Xander's at the top at 54 again, back at play, leading off against the lefty. He's been unbelievable. RIP, my Red Sox there. Red Sox are getting swept by the Pirates, and Xander Bogaerts is lighting it up for San Diego. For me, it's Xander, and then, I don't know, I just jumped down to the mid-tier. I think Taylor probably is a little bit in play, hitting 8th against a lefty, guy that generally hits lefties pretty well. but Abrams hitting 8th against Urena at 24 was like the other guy. So for me, it was mostly three shortstops. It was going to be Xander if he was playing, Taylor, and Abrams.
Yeah, have to like Xander leading off. That's definitely interesting right off the bat. I probably, and I'm a Patrick Sandoval stan. I'm a Patrick Sandoval here,
Okay.
John. Nailed it. But I do kind of have interest in the Blue Jays, just in tournaments. Look, we know Washington, Colorado is going to have its ownership. We know Atlanta, San Diego, barring that like positive weather reaffirmation, is going to have ownership. And then the Dodgers, right? That's kind of where like the offensive ownership is going to go. I kind of like Toronto. And I know Sandoval is a good pitcher and there's strikeout appeal. But he's gotten in trouble before. He's not untouchable. And we know the Blue Jays offense is extremely potent. Bo Bichette, 335 WOBA against lefties last year. The only thing that impacted Sandoval was righties last year. Like,
sure,
lefties had a 183 WOBA against him, 323 against righties. So,
do you think Toronto is our low-owned stack of the day?
Yes, depending on. I mean, that's also contingent on what San Diego, Atlanta's ownership checks in at.
Sure.
Right? Because, like,
I'm gonna go give it a little peek-see here and see what we got for some projected rostership on this slate.
Because if no one's going to play that game, then we should play that game as the contrarian stack.
I would agree with you. This one isn't going to work. Maybe you can find something better. This one's got like every team involved in there, and the full. This one's showing full day slate, not what we're looking for. Not fantasy alarms rostership. Just throwing that one out there. Just did a quick check elsewhere. So we'll see if we can get some updated rostership around the group and see what we got there. Because I do think, Michael says in chat, does Bo Bichette seem like a contrarian play? I do. I think Blue Jays maybe seem, to me at least, a little bit contrarian there. So
if we're talking ownership, okay, we could talk about it. It looks like pretty much exactly what we said. Toronto looks like they're going to be around the 5th or 6th highest owned team of the day. Like
that's that seems about right to me. So, and we talk about all the time, like they're certainly an offense that can do damage. I just generally think Sandoval's a pretty good pitcher.
Agreed.
And that's probably why. Plus, of course, we're looking at a lot of people wanting to play the Dodgers against Madison Bumgarner, wanting to play Washington against Urena. So, I guess I'm not too surprised that they're going to be as lowly rostered as it seems like they're coming in on. So, any other shortstops for you? Do you like any? I mean, Arcia keeps homering. Is there any interest in like Orlando Arcia? Everybody's like, how can they send down Vaughn Grissom? It's like because Orlando Arcia is a hitting machine. So,
dude, I mean, if you're wearing a Braves jersey right now, it just feels like you have superpowers offensively, right? Like it's just crazy. Like they are nuts. So yeah, if you want to play Arcia and you're as a one-off or in stacks, I'm perfectly fine with it because he's hitting 400. It's 400. He's hitting 400. Like, what can I say? Orlando Arcia is hitting 400 in 2023.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and he's hitting for power. And one of the things that you and I talk a lot about is the wraparound stack, right? Don't be afraid of guys hitting 9th because right behind them is the top of the lineup waiting to drive them in. And now we're starting to see teams actually even put capable hitters down there because it's not the pitcher anymore hitting 9th. And because they know that come the 2nd, 3rd inning, they're going to have a guy that can actually get on base ahead of the top of their lineup. So, Arcia down there hitting 7th tonight, $2,800 maybe finds his way into a lineup or two. But any other shortstops for you here?
No. Outfield we go.
Outfield away. Acuna is your top price guy, $6,200. Then we got bets, as we discussed, second base, outfield eligibility. We got our Angels. Soto's got the lefty. I'm not sure if we're in on that one or not. Ward against Bassett. Ward, Howard Bender's favorite player. He's been off to a really strong start here. Not to rattle off every top guy above 4,500. So, where are you kind of keying in on if we're stacking a top play here?
Yeah, Soto, although he has not hit lefties to start this year, has historically been fine against them. Career 833 OPS. So obviously, better against righties. His OPS against righties is over 1,000. So, you can see the difference, but still fine. Chris Bryant, like, I don't know what the upside is, John, 5,300, right? Because if we're not heading for power, does he pay it off? I mean, he'd have to have what, 3 hits last night in a 1-0 game. He's the only RBI, 2 for 4, 10 fantasy points at 5,300. Like at 5,300, we want a home run or we want a guy that has stolen base equity as well. And Chris Bryant, I'm not sure at that price. I like Acuna quite a bit, 62. I like Springer in a contrarian stack. But Mookie Betts obviously stands out the most.
Yeah, 100%. Again, now that we know we can play Vargas at second, Mookie's probably the guy we're looking to spend up for when it comes to the outfield position. I mentioned I like some of these guys. JD Martinez, hitting cleanup here. You got him at $4,700. But for me, it was a lot of the value as we kind of worked our way down here. I liked Jesse Winker. I don't mind Lane Thomas, even though he's now down hitting 7th because he's not hitting a lefty, but still, I don't think much of Urena here. Burleson is a guy we've talked a lot about, hitting 2nd against Woodruff. I know Woodruff's a tough matchup, but great price tag on him. Jordan Walker finally homered yesterday. He's 2,700. Garrett Mitchell, favorite of mine, hitting 6 at 2,600. We talked about Alex Call already, 25. So I think there's a lot of value on tonight's slate here.
Yeah, it feels that way. It feels like there's more value than more guys that we want to spend up on. Just to add, like all those guys I think are in play. JD Martinez hitting 3rd, 4,700 kind of feels pretty good. Maybe another Chris Bryant-esque player, but at least JD Martinez has had a home run this year. He has 4 extra base hits, so maybe he's not fully washed. I do like him hitting 3rd. You mentioned Chris Taylor at short. I mean, I just keep going back to Dodgers, man. Outman, Trace Thompson. I like all these Dodgers. I just keep going to Dodgers.
Would you go? Yeah, Trace Thompson, 100%. Would you go Outman, lefty versus lefty there?
I think Mad Bum is pretty bad.
Okay.
So, I don't hate the idea of getting to Outman. I mean, I prefer Trace Thompson. But I don't hate getting to Outman.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to see. We had an Angels lineup here. I mentioned Jake Lamb earlier. He is hitting 5th. Going up against Bassett there. Hope is at catcher today. Fletcher hit 9th at shortstop. Ward's leading off. Trout, Ohtani, Renfroe kind of rounds out that lineup there tonight as well. So it should be interesting because there's a lot of value on this slate. Like, we talked a lot about Gore. We were kind of worried about Woodruff, but I wonder if there's just so much money available if people find themselves like double spending on pitchers just because the money's there.
Yeah, I think so. Looking at, let's pull up the pitcher ownership.
Sure.
And let's see. It looks like, as this updates, Woodruff, Kershaw are number 1 and number 2 by like a large number. Mm-hmm. And then Flaherty, to your point earlier. So because Washington is so cheap, and because the Dodgers lineup is realistically really cheap too, Miguel Vargas hitting 5th at 2,400. Like you could double barrel your starting pitching, and I think that looks like to be the more popular approach. Yeah,
Miriam in our chat mentioned here Padres bullpen has been giving it up to righties this year. Just looking up bullpen team ERA. Shout out Howard Bender. The Padres bullpen, 5.84 ERA on the season, 16 earned runs allowed already, 5 homers. So, they get through Martinez does Atlanta, and then they just start teeing off on this Padres bad bullpen as well.
Yeah, I mean, and that just feeds us more into, will Nick Martinez get deep into this game? And more into Atlanta's offense having superpowers. So, I'm perfectly fine getting to really anyone at the top of the Atlanta lineup.
Sure.
especially if their bullpen is struggling as much as it is. And Nick Martinez, what are we expecting? So he did go 7 innings, 101 pitches, and that's great for him. But
did it at home against Colorado. So
yeah, at home against Colorado in a loss. So
yeah.
I'm perfectly fine getting to all the Braves, especially factoring in Martinez plus the bullpen.
All right, give me your home run call here, James, before we build our lineup. We got a couple of minutes left for everybody, so let's close it out with your home run call. For those that are not familiar, we do a home run call here at the end of the show, but we don't include the Coors Field because Coors Field we feel like is a little bit of cheating. So give me your non-Coors Field home run of the day.
Non-Coors Field home run of the day, I just have to go with a Dodger. I'm going to go with J.D. Martinez hitting third for the Dodgers. Going to hit a home run today.
J.D. Martinez hitting a home run today. I like that one. I'm going to go with Manny Machado.
That's also pretty good
here against Schuster. That's where I'm going to go with my home run of the day. Padres, you got J.D. Martinez of the Dodgers. James, let's do it. Let's build our lineup for tonight. Let's start off at pitching. We're plugging in Kershaw. I think we're both in agreement there. Where are we going as our SB2 today?
I mean, the chalk, so it depends on how you want to build it. The chalk answer is to go Woodruff. The different answer is to go probably Flaherty, Bassett, or Mackenzie Gore. That felt like the 3 other names that we liked. And it also depends. The question is, do you want to use Colorado, Washington? Because if you want to use Colorado, Washington, that will kind of answer for us.
Correct. I'm good with using Gore. We got, I do like, I like the Milwaukee guys, man. I'm telling you, I talked myself into it. Myron, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly there. He got Garrett Mitchell as his home run call. Michael in the chat has Matt Chapman. I'm telling you, I'm kind of feeling some Brewers here. So I'm fine going that. You've been kind of in on Bassett though today. You think Bassett's a guy?
I mean, look, we just broke down the Angels lineup, and we talked about it already. It's like if you are not snake bit by Trout, Ohtani, Ward at the top, there's just not a lot of oomph in the rest of the lineup.
Jake Lamb hitting 5th isn't doing it for you, is what you're saying?
Jake Lamb hitting 5th and Brennan Drury not facing a lefty, really not doing it for me. Okay. So, I like Bassett, but again, it's like Milwaukee isn't even that expensive. So we could, in theory, if we're stacking Milwaukee, we could still use Woodruff as our SP2.
How about this? We'll leave SP2 blank for now. Let's plug in the guys that we know we want. We want Vargas at second.
Yep.
Right? We want Betts in the outfield.
Yep.
All right, so we plugged in them. First base, who was our catcher? We went Kybert, probably, right?
Well, yeah, we did go WD Smith until he was no longer
not in the lineup though. So
yeah, so Kybert and or whatever Blue Jays catcher eventually cracks the lineup. But
we don't have a Blue Jays lineup yet, right? So kind of hard to build that.
Let's see. A lineup is out, and it is Joey Gallo leaving the game. So nothing official.
All right, so we'll plug Kybert in for now, $3,200. First base. We were in on Olsen. I kind of like Matt Olsen here.
I do too. Okay. Recent update, and I'll shout out Kevin Roth of Roto Grinders. A lot of us know him as the weather guy for the fantasy industry. He, as of 18 minutes ago, John, suggested the rain may never even make the ballpark in Atlanta.
Beautiful.
There might not even be a drop of rain
in Atlanta. I love to see it. Brendan in the chat, by the way, says Rowdy Tellez home run call today.
Love that, Brendan. Love that.
We're sneaky Brewers tonight. I love Rowdy a lot. We like Matt Olson here, but we also liked Dom Smith. We talked Rowdy Tellez. I feel like we need some Washington exposure at some point. Where are we getting it?
Kybert. So John, I just wanted to I wanted to feel the Flaherty, or I wanted to feel the Brewers love with all you guys, with Myron, with you, with Brendan.
Yeah.
Because you guys are all you're all feeling this, and I felt left out of the party. Very small sample last year, but I think you guys are onto something. 476 slug, 368 WOBA for lefties against
Jack Flaherty.
Old Flaherty here. Just you're onto something here.
All right. I'm just saying, listen, I'm gonna make the executive decision just to put Garrett Mitchell in the lineup at 2,600. No, I don't think you'll argue with me too much on that one.
Nope, I will not.
So we have first base open. We thought maybe Dom Smith, but there are obviously Matt Olson.
Olson no weather, dude. Olson no weather.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Probably Olson. Gore is definitely super risky in Coors. I agree. But we just, super talented, and to your point, strikeout rate lately against lefties. That lineup is kind of gross. So the money could be there to spend down. We're going to see how we continue to build up this lineup, and we'll see what else we can fit in there. We may be able to get another cheapie. We wanted Trace too, right? Trace was our other cheapie bat. So if we go outfield, Betts, Mitchell, Thompson, that's $6K a play. We might get there for a second. Let's see. So we can do Mackenzie Gore. So I just threw a quick double tap, so some lineups in here. Let me read this off to you. Let me know how you're feeling it, James. We can obviously continue to update as we feel the need to. $700 left over. Clayton Kershaw, Mackenzie Gore, Keibert Ruiz, Matt Olson, Miguel Vargas, Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Mookie Betts, Garrett Mitchell, Trace Thompson. So we got a Vargas, Betts, Thompson, Dodgers exposure. We got Machado, Xander with an Olson comeback. We got Garrett Mitchell one-off. Maybe we wanted a little bit more exposure, but I'm just in on Garrett Mitchell. Keibert is our only exposure against Jose Urena tonight. And we got Mackenzie Gore. But we have some high-priced bats in that lineup. Mookie, Xander, Machado, Olson. Definitely some major fantasy points can be scored there.
Yeah, so to your point too, and I know Jared Schuster is a highly touted prospect, and Braves fans expected more of him in the debut. I expected more of him when I plugged him in at $4,600 or whatever he was the first time around. Xander Bogaerts last year against lefties, John, 382, 446 WOBA. Manny Machado, 373 WOBA against left-handed pitching. We've been kind of talking about it. This game is elite, but the rain was just the cloud, you know? No pun intended. That was the cloud over our heads. Was this game going to play? And now that there's reports that there's really not going to be rain, maybe even make into the ballpark, this game could pop off. 9.5 run total. I love that. Mackenzie Gore is just obviously that's the elephant in the room.
That's the elephant in the room. But you know what? If he's 30% owned tonight and gets lit, I think you're okay. Right?
It doesn't look like he's going to be.
I know.
It looks like we are taking a risk using Mackenzie Gore. Right. And if it pays off.
Anytime you play pitcher in Coors, you're taking a risk. I think.
Right. No, 100%. And it paid off yesterday. And it could very well backfire today. There's no question about it. But 30% K rate for the Rockies this year against lefties. Small sample, but different lineup than it's been in years past. And they're missing two of their everyday starters, and Brendan Rodgers and Randall Grichuk. So I like it. I like getting the Machado and Bogaerts exposure. I really do.
100% there. So that wraps up today's Quick Pitch live stream here. Again, if you're not already a member of the All-Pro family here over at Fantasy Alarm, check the description of the live stream. Use promo code MLB50. Click the link there. 50% off the first 6 months. It's $19.98 a month for the first 6 months. That takes you through the first month of the NFL season as well. You're getting the NFL season, September content, DFS playbook, Discord access, all the premium content there for just $20. And you get access to not just the MLB, the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, PGA, NASCAR, you name it, we cover it. All access for just $20 a month, basically, for the next 6 months. So how can you beat that? Click the link in the description of the live stream. Give us a like, give us a share, give us a follow as well. James and I will be doing this now every day, Monday through Friday from 5 to 6 o'clock, taking you to a roster lock there, 6 in the Discord as well, answering your questions. So it's been fun. James, I hope you have good luck tonight, have a good weekend, and get ready for Monday.
Thanks. And yeah, I hope you as well, John. I hope everyone in the FB Nation found this beneficial. And I look forward to doing this song and dance. Plus, John, podcast 9 a.m. every morning.
It's true.
Plus the live stream.
Plus, after us, go to SiriusXM and listen to Howard and Jim, right?
Yep.
Fantasy Alarm show's on right now. Go check out Howard Bender, Jim Bowden. Ask them some questions. Have them help you with all your fantasy needs there. But for now, James and I will be back on Monday. We'll talk to you later.